What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of 10K on the Bay. This is Chris, your host. Thanks for joining me. Today, I want to go over 5 tips that I got from the Reseller rally. And I also want to go over my 65 item haul from the weekend to give you guys an idea of what kind of stuff sells. And hopefully, I can give you guys some ideas what's going on. But thanks for joining me again. The first thing that I want to say is, obviously, when you go to a networking event, the number one thing you can get from it is networking. Networking is absolutely huge. As you guys know, over 200 people showed up. It was a really awesome opportunity to meet with other content creators. Everyone that was on the panel had a YouTube channel. Also, there were over 200 resellers there. And it's a great idea, a great time to find out what other people sell, how they do it, what their business model is. Meeting somebody person to person, they're going to be more likely to give you more in-depth information to what they sell. And I just want to give you guys some tips on networking because I consider myself an excellent networker. That's a skill that I have worked on over time. I know you guys maybe don't believe it, but I used to be super introverted. Now, not as much because I enjoy taking the time to learn what other people are all about, what they're passionate about, what they like to do, what they do for fun, and it's really been awesome. So the first tip I have for networking is to take initiative. It's not going to be, you're never going to have situations set up for you. You have to take initiative and figure out a way to get to know people as best as you can. And you're going to do it, over coffee. You're going to do it over dinner. You're going to have to figure out a way to get people to meet you. You're going to, if you meet a group of people that you really like and you end up going to someone's hotel room and talking about different ideas until 3 a.m, that's going to be the most valuable part of any conference that you go to. That secret meeting you have with a bunch of people to really level up your game. And just to give you guys an idea, over the course of, maybe 48 hours, I spent $500 on drinks, dinner, whatever, to just networking and meeting with people on my end. But I think I also received at least twice that in people buying me drinks or people buying dinner or people sharing an Uber and buying stuff back to me. Like, that is awesome, right? It's the law of reciprocation. You give and you receive, and don't be afraid to buy somebody dinner, especially because they're going to be more likely to open up to you and tell you what they sell, what kind of things work for them, what doesn't work. These are all things that can save you time over the course of your career, not just in reselling, but you might meet someone who's really successful in one area of their life, but they're lacking in another area, which is very common because sometimes if you really focus too much on one area, other areas fall to the wayside. So that was cool. And also, it's nice to share the bill of something. So we had dinner at Giordano's on Friday night, and the bill ended up being $1,300. So I'm really glad that I was able to split the burden with Ryan. Shout out to the Ecom Hustle on Instagram. Thank you very much for finding the venue. It was in Chicago, which was amazing, and I got to meet a bunch of Amazon sellers, which is very important to me because I don't know a lot about Amazon, and I really want to learn and get as many people from Amazon as I can to really help me level up at a faster pacing and hopefully help me skip a bunch of rookie mistakes. Okay, so that was awesome. Again, shout out to Ryan for helping me out with the bill, setting up the venue. That really was key to helping that go a little bit more smoothly. The second thing that I want to share is from Craigslist Hunter. I'm not going to go over really the material that they went through because it's a paid event, but I just want to share that he mentioned that patience is one of the major keys. I won't go over his other keys, and everything takes time. Everything worth building is worth taking the time and doing it right. And that is going to be a huge thing that I work on. And as you guys know, there's a lot of things going on for me, and I really need to dial it back. I've got YouTube. Obviously, I'm making probably around 3 videos a week. I have Patreon, so the people who are in my specific group are texting me, calling me while I'm outsourcing, running ideas from me. And as much as that helps me level up, it does take time and energy away from my goal, which is really to get to 10,000 items on eBay. I also have a Facebook group, which I'm going to pick some admins this week to really help me take the load off. And I also have a little rental car business, which is going just fine. And I'm not expanding on that, so that's not taking too much effort. And then obviously I have ambitions on Amazon as well. But as you can tell from me just saying that, I'm pretty much guaranteeing failure if I expect something dramatic from that many avenues in a short period of time. And I'm not. And I am patient. So even though it seems like I'm impatient with all these different other ideas, I am taking the time to build most of these the right way. I'm very, very happy with my YouTube community. You guys are awesome, supporting me, giving me ideas. I take criticism well, so I appreciate people taking the time to let me know what they hate about the video, how I can do things better. Fantastic. I'm really glad that you guys take the time to really critique me, give me some new ideas, point me in the right direction. And then, of course, I'm taking the same approach with all my other avenues. Make sure that you just do it, consistently work on it, be persistent, and then people will help you along the way. I learn a lot more from people who are critical than the people who are nice. There's only so much you can do from hearing a good job from somebody. Okay. The third thing that I learned is that there's a lot less diversity than you think. When you meet large sellers, you may think, oh wow, they're really good at selling a lot of different things, or there's a lot of variety, or they know a little bit about a lot of things. That's not necessarily true. When I'm meeting a lot of these bigger sellers, there were some serious Amazon guys that were doing, seven figures. Who, regardless of how much net they make, they do a lot of revenue, and I'm trying to learn from them. And honestly, they're not selling in that many categories. A lot of them are selling in 3 categories, 4 categories, and they just get really good at one area. Some people only sell in one category. I think one of the largest sellers that was there was one of Reezy's friends, Frank, and he does, I don't want to say, but multiple 6 figures of income on just one category. So there's less diversity than you think when it comes to these big dogs. They just really know their stuff. They really understand the market, and market is king. And I really, really enjoyed listening to them. And I was a little bit taken back by how few categories they really sell in. Okay. The fourth thing is that your listing and sell-through capacity are really the major keys to your eBay business. So for example, if you can sell 100 items a week and list 100 items a week and make $10 profit, you're really at that $1,000 a week income, which is what everyone is emailing me about. Chris, how do I quit my job? I think if you're making $1,000 a week on eBay on the side, you can quit your job. If you live in anywhere but California or the major cities, $1,000 a week you can get by. And so I recommend you don't quit your job until you're making at least $1,000 a week. Because it's too risky, right? There's a lot to give up when you leave your 9 to 5. And, I'm now in that boat now where I do have other sources of income, but leaving the 9 to 5 is a little bit scary. And I know plenty of eBayers that do quite well without quitting their 9 to 5. So you can do both. So I just want to focus again on that. For me, since my goals are a little bit higher, I need to get at least 250 to 300 listings up every single week to reach that minimum 1,000 items sold per month. That's really what I need to be by the end of the summer, and we're already halfway through the first month, approaching on the end of June. So I really need to get my butt in gear and make sure I get up at least 300 listings a week, which I totally can do. And the way I'm going to structure that is 300 listings. For me, I list about 10 items an hour myself. When I hire people or have people working for me, they list a lot slower. So I'm going to do a combination of wholesale and retail arbitrage and thrifting and garage selling to get the 300 items that I need each week. And I'm making sure that I always list more than I buy. So ideally, by the end of June, I should be done with my death pile. And I think I'm getting pretty close. I shared that I have about 4 bins left of shoes to list, and then I'll be done. Okay. So the fifth thing that I want to share, and the tip that is not talked about too much, which is you got to focus on your unfair advantage. If you live in a big city where it's very wealthy and you can get a lot of different items at cheaper, or there's more, there's pros and cons to every single area. Like for example, I live in California, and there's 200 thrift stores within 30 miles of where I live. But it also means that the average dress shirt costs $8, and the average pair of shoes is like 10. So it's not cheap, right? I'm a little jealous of some of the areas in the middle of the country where they have 69-cent Salvation Army. There's like really nothing under $4 of Salvation Army in California. So it's a totally different game. And I really want to just focus on the fact that wherever you live, there's some type of unfair advantage, and you need to know what it is. And I will give you an example of how that works. I live in Silicon Valley, and I'm also trying my hand at the YouTube game, right? And I totally hacked the YouTube game. I know you guys think that I'm really good at marketing or something to get my YouTube channel to grow like this, but really, I'll tell you how I did it, which is I just became friends with all the influencers in the YouTube community. I commented on everyone's page, got to know everybody. I know when I met the YouTube creators at the Reseller rally, I felt like I knew most of them already because I've spent the time in talking to Ronnie Hart, for example, talking about clothing, shooting the shit with him over the past few months. And I already know Ronnie. So when I met him in person, it was more of a formality. And that's when you know other influencers and they talk about you, of course your channel is going to grow, right? Even if they dislike you. There's definitely people in the YouTube community who don't like the way I do things or whatever, and that's fine because they're still going to talk about you if you know them, right? And I think that I share mutual respect with everyone in the community, good or bad. I learn a lot more from the people who critique me again. So just want to make sure that you guys know what an unfair advantage really does for your business. And in the YouTube game, it is working with influencers. In the sourcing game, it's basically working with suppliers. Your relationships with the suppliers will totally get you the bacon. Okay, so now I'm going to go into the 65 items that sold over the weekend. I actually, before the Reseller rally started, I spent about an hour and a half in the coffee shop by myself reviewing and relisting around 1,800 listings. I was adjusting keywords, titles. I changed some items to free shipping, bumped up the sale price. Some items I added shipping, lowered the sale price. I adjusted the order of the words. I changed some of the descriptions. I added some item specifics. And I've been doing this for a while, so it didn't take too long. And I had one of the largest sale days ever. I had around 50 sales on Saturday and around 15 yesterday for a total of 65 over the weekend. I'll go over which items sold in just a second. But I really think I got a huge boost in the search rankings by just adjusting everything, and maybe the free shipping helped boost me in some categories. And just adjusting it and mixing it up, I think really did help. And listening to some of the big sellers at the last conference I went to, they really focus on having routine reviews. So they go over their stale inventory and they just make sure everything's okay. Of course, a lot of you guys sell similar and you get a whole new item. But again, getting a whole new item number is only good if the listing is better, in my opinion. Don't rely on just it being fresh. You may have made a mistake on a spelling error. You may have spelled LuLaRoe wrong. You may have spelled Lululemon wrong and no one can find it, and you're not reviewing your listings, so that's just sort of lost in the oblivion of the 1 billion listings on eBay, right? You got to go in there and constantly review and check it. So that being said, I had one of my biggest days ever, 50 sales on Saturday, 15 yesterday. We'll get into it. A lot of the stuff I sell, you guys know, about half the stuff I sell is clothing. So here's a J. Crew dress shirt, button down. It's a slim fit. I sell slim fit a little bit better than other ones. Again, you guys know my clips system on here are removable. So today when I list an item 0710, right? When I resell the item, I will put this on it and they'll go back into the bin. And now that I only have 20 items per bin instead of 30, it's a lot less intense because they're not so crammed in there. Okay, cool. Lots of shirts. Here is a Land's End shirt. Here is a Boss shirt. Tommy Bahama. Volcom is a brand that sells really well for me. It's a skating brand. I like to sell skateboarding stuff. And of course, if you follow the Hype Beast game, things that are popular in skateboarding become mainstream. So if you follow the skateboarding niche, which a lot of people do, you'll have an insight sort of into what becomes trending and popular for younger people. Because skateboarding definitely is more towards a younger crowd. Selling a lot of dress pants, so Dockers, Joseph Feiss. I'm doing relatively well with men's dress pants, so I'll continue to sell that. I also sell a brand called Bonobos, which I think is being purchased by Walmart, right? So used to be a Nordstrom brand, and I think that they're going to be more mainstream now. Here's one shirt brand that's really good that I'm not going to tell you guys, but I'm gonna share my Patreon group. Let's see here. This is one of those hats that has the flaps. So even though this is definitely a winter hat, I just sold it in the middle of June. So pick up winter stuff. It's on sale right now. I'm gonna go see if I can find some more floppy ear hats. This brand is Wilson's Leather. So again, Wilson's Leather, they make a lot of leather stuff. And it's a mall brand, and I like their fuzzy winter hats anyway. So if it didn't sell, I probably would have bought it for myself anyway. Sold the Ford camo hat. I like selling anything Ford, Chevrolet, Lexus. Any car brands do well because there's a lot of brand loyalty for people. And this is like a, somebody who loves camouflage's dream, especially if you had a big truck. Also, one of my YouTube subscribers at the rally gave me a Justin Bieber shirt, which is like amazing, right? I'm not even sure if I want to sell this because it's just super cool. I think everyone likes Justin Bieber, even though you may not admit it, but I'm not ashamed of it. I'm okay with Bieber. So we sold a bunch of items from that wholesale OEM auctions thing. Sold this little speaker guy for $35. I sold this InvisiShield privacy glass, which is great. If you guys are still looking in the wholesale from OEM experts, you want to go to their website. And then in the how did you hear about us, put 10K on the bay. That will help them know that I'm driving some traffic to them. And again, I'm not really sure what their minimum order is, which is really my main question and concern with them, because a lot of the people who listen to my channel may not have enough money to buy a pallet of electronics, but some people do. So I'm doing quite well with this. They did give me an estimate that the box I bought was about $150. I've already netted over $200 in profit from it, and I still have tons of items left. So that is great. And so I will probably be reordering from these guys, and I'll test out some more. And hopefully I can share A to B, me placing the order live. We can see what comes in it, and see if I can give you guys a more exact review of that company. Here's another brand, Fastenable. I think you guys already know about that brand. This is an Under Armour tank top. Some Old Navy jeans. Some Saludos. I don't know if you guys know this brand. These are called espadrilles. So I'm selling a lot of women's shoes because these will ship first class mail, which is fantastic. So I'm really excited about moving more in the women's shoes. And I actually think women's stuff is a little more interesting than men's. Here's a Nintendo tee that I got from Uniqlo. You guys know I sold a bunch of stuff from Uniqlo, which is a popular urban brand, and they take advantage of urban trends, and they do a lot of collaborations, like with Snoopy, which was the big release that I did a couple months ago, or a month and a half ago, and this one was a collaboration with Nintendo. So I picked up a lot of Yoshi shirts and Mario, Luigi, popular stuff from my childhood that is selling like hotcakes now. I have a Peter Millar dress shirt, which is a big thing for golfers. A Nike shirt. What is this thing? This is a pair of LeBrons. So I sell a lot of LeBron James stuff, which is weird because you wouldn't think I would find LeBron James stuff here. So you guys who live in the middle of the country where there may be more Cleveland fans, you're probably going to get a lot more LeBrons. Definitely pick those up when you see them. They're good money. John Varvatos, another good brand. Tommy Hilfiger. I'm out of the puzzle game, but I used to sell a lot of puzzles. Now it's no longer worth my time because I rarely make more than $10. So I'm not going to list puzzles anymore, despite the fact they all have barcodes and you can scan them and load them. More dress pants. This is a Nordstrom pair. Let's see, what shirt is this? This is Old Navy. I surprisingly sell a lot of Old Navy. Greg Norman. So this is a lot of 2 dress shirts because sometimes I find, I'm sure all of you guys find 3, 4, 5 of the same shirt. This was 2 of the basically identical golf shirt. Let's see, there's about 20 more little dress items in here that are dress shorts. I'm sorry, gym shorts and another Banana Republic shirt. This one is an actual Banana Republic shirt, not the outlet form, because it doesn't have the dots. So more clothing, Brooks Brothers again. This is James Purse, another brand that you guys may have never heard of. It's in Los Angeles. James Purse, great brand. I've been selling it for pretty decent money. Thomas Pink. This is turning into sort of a haul video kind of style. I don't know if I went over this. I sold the iPod. This is the product version, which is like a red sort of limited edition one. Sold this for 35 bucks. I think I could have gotten $5, $10 more for it, which is amazing because these things are really old. Tommy Bahama again. Then, is it Van Heusen? I don't know how to pronounce that brand. A lot of paper denim and cloth, plus size jeans. Sold 3 pairs of those. I'm selling a lot of BKE brand jeans, so Buckle. Buckle brand's been doing well. Warriors are on fire, so I pick up all those dress shirts. I'm gonna say all the shirts that they give away for at the games. They don't sell for a ton of money, but they're also in abundance here. They never overcharge for these at Goodwill because they just have tons of them. And then some baby LeBrons, which I really like. I really like LeBron, as you guys know, for reselling. As a person, I'm still okay with him. Never missed a playoff game. Gotta respect that work ethic. A tailor-made golf hat. Golf hats sell really well for me regardless of what logo's in the back. Just make sure that you take pictures of it so people aren't surprised when they get it. You want to definitely have items that, you want to describe your items properly so people know exactly what they're getting. Okay. I bought probably 30 or 40 pairs of Izod jeans, and shorts too. You can get these at pretty much any TJ Maxx, Marshalls, for $8 to $10 on clearance, pretty easily. At least for me, I've seen them pretty much everywhere, and you can sell them for $20 to $40 depending on how popular the color is and the size, right? Plus sizes generally do better, especially for golfers. The people who have time to golf usually work too much, which means they're overweight. That's just how it is. And then again, another Tommy Bahama shirt. Tommy Bahama has always done well for me. And I also sold a Tool bike rack, which is in this case right here. This is my flip of the week, basically. Paid 20 and sold it for 175. You guys can see it on my low-key Husky account. But look at this pile of stuff that's going to go out. So pretty exciting. A lot of stuff is going to go out today. And again, you can see the evolution of systems, right? I used to do where I printed on a Dymo label what the item was, how much it weighed. Then I stopped doing that and I switched to, because you can see on this one, I don't have a tag on it, right? So this is my older system. When I just put the bin that it was in. And then I switched to, see, there's actually 2 items here from the old bin system where I just put the bin number and I didn't have an item location. And then I switched to having the item location and the bin number in the title. And then I switched to even storing it in a poly mailer directly ready for shipping. This one I just need to put a label on it and ship it, versus this one I need to transfer into another receptacle to send. Also for jeans, I store them in these plastic bags because this will slide right, it's 9 by 12. It'll slide right into a padded flat rate without being damaged. See, this is, you can see how beat up this envelope is, and it's because I didn't put it in one of these plastic bags before, because this will just slide right in. You can get rid of a lot of the air in the package before trying to put it in here. So this is sort of a what not to do, because this isn't a very good presentation. Somebody who gets this might be like, what the hell? So they're not going to leave a negative, but they're going to be probably annoyed that it looks like that. So again, for jeans now, I'm storing them in a 9 by 12 plastic bag, which fits really nice into a flat rate envelope. And I was using the 6 by 9 clear poly mailers for t-shirts, which is great because you can stand these all up next to each other. You can fit probably 40 of these in my normal plastic bin, which is a great way to save space. Again, I squeeze out all the air as much as I can before closing it as tight as I can. But again, even though I'm getting most of the air out to seal it, there's still a space in the top where there's air going in, and that's just to prevent it from going stale or having a weird smell. So all my packages here all have a little bit of air going in them, but I just try to squeeze it out and tighten the containers as much as I can. That's why I actually switched away from the Ziploc bag and into the bag that's sealable. So I seal it and still have the air. Again, tons of improvements, tons of different ideas to get clothing going. Now that I'm getting better at selling clothing, I'm not going to pick up even half of these brands, because as I'm looking for a better average selling price, you got to make sure you focus on the good stuff to avoid selling stuff that is only a $5 or $10 profit, because it's going to eat you up as far as time. You're trying to focus more on a $20 profit. So dress shirts again. I'm just so happy that I store everything in a 9x12, because it fits in the flat rate so well, saves space. Let's see, is there any other stuff you can learn from this? I guess not. So let me switch back the camera. All right, guys, thank you so much for joining me again today. Please like and subscribe if you haven't. If you want to talk to me on a more one-on-one level, check out my Patreon page, patreon.com/10KOnTheBay, or join my Facebook group, Reseller Fam. And yeah, so learned a lot from Chicago. Hopefully you guys learned a lot from this video. Shoot me an email at 10KOnTheBay@gmail.com if you have any other questions. Go out there and meet people. Enjoy yourself. Have a great one. Have a great week. Take care.